The night was calm over Earth, the sky filled with stars as people carried on with their usual lives. Children laughed in playgrounds, lovers walked hand in hand, and tired workers returned to their homes. No one knew that their world was about to change forever. Without warning, the stars above shifted. A new light appeared in the heavens, bright, unnatural, and terrifying at first. People thought it was a comet or maybe a satellite falling, but the light grew larger, and soon a massive shadow began to cover the skies. A colossal alien ship emerged from the void, larger than any city. Its dark surface gleamed like polished metal, and its size was so overwhelming that night turned into day for those below. People froze in fear, staring at the impossible sight above them. The alien warship hovered silently over the Earth. Its engines released no sound, but the air itself trembled. Birds scattered from the trees, animals howled, and the ground shook under its presence. Humanity had seen alien ships in movies, but never in reality. This was no dream, this was invasion. Across the world, governments scrambled to respond. Fighter jets took off, missiles were prepared, and leaders rushed to underground bunkers. But even the strongest armies felt powerless when facing a ship so large it could blot out the moon. Then it came, a voice deep and terrifying, thundered across every screen, every speaker and every device on Earth. The message was clear, repeated in every language: no witnesses, fulfill my desire. The world held its breath. The voice was not human. It was cold, cruel, and commanding. The alien warlord had spoken. His ultimatum was simple but mysterious. He demanded something, but no one understood what it was. Panic erupted. Families ran to shelters. Cities shut down and chaos spread. What was his desire? Why did he say no witnesses? Did he mean to destroy all life on Earth? News anchors struggled to keep calm as they repeated the message. Scientists worked day and night to decode hidden meanings. Military generals prepared for the worst. The alien warship remained motionless, as if waiting for humanity to answer. In small towns and great cities alike, people stared at the sky in silence. Some cried, some prayed, and some cursed the heavens. The sight of the ship was enough to crush the bravest of hearts. It was like looking into the eye of doom. The alien warlord spoke again. His voice sent chills through every soul. He gave Earth 24 hours to fulfill his desire. If not, he promised there would be no witnesses left alive. His tone carried no doubt, no mercy, only absolute power. To prove his threat was real, a beam of pure energy shot down from the warship. It struck a deserted island in the Pacific. In seconds, the island vanished into dust. The ocean boiled, waves rose like mountains, and the world realized the truth. This was no bluff. People screamed, leaders panicked. Humanity had never faced such a danger. All weapons seemed useless, all hope seemed weak. The alien warlord had declared his will, and the future of Earth now balanced on a knife's edge. But somewhere in the shadows of fear, a spark of courage began to grow. Scientists whispered of hidden signals in the warlord's words. Soldiers tightened their grip on their weapons. Ordinary people looked at each other and wondered if humanity could rise against the impossible. The warship remained still, like a predator watching its prey. Its shadow stretched across continents, a constant reminder of the danger above. Night fell again, but there was no peace. Every person who looked to the sky saw not stars, but their own possible end. In that moment, Earth stood united by fear. The question echoed in every heart. What was the alien warlord's true desire, and could humanity survive the coming storm? The countdown had begun. The clock ticked toward destruction, and the shadow of the alien warship remained, vast and silent, waiting for Earth's answer. The shadow of the alien warship still hung over the Earth. For 24 hours, humanity had lived under its gaze. Fear filled every home, every street, every nation. The countdown had begun, and the alien warlord's words still echoed. No witnesses. Fulfill my desire. Inside underground bunkers, leaders argued without rest. Generals shouted about launching missiles. Scientists warned that Earth's weapons could not even scratch the massive ship. Politicians demanded negotiations, but no one knew what the warlord's true desire was. The world stood on the edge of panic and silence. The alien warlord appeared once more. His face finally shone on every screen. His form was tall, armored, and fearsome. His skin glowed with strange markings, and his eyes burned with hatred. He spoke again, his voice cutting through the hearts of billions. I do not want your land, I do not want your wealth. I do not want your surrender, he declared. Fulfill my desire or I will erase you all. There will be no witnesses left to speak of your race. Confusion spread. What could he mean? If he wanted nothing material, what was this desire? Some whispered it was revenge, others thought it was bloodlust, and a few believed he wanted humanity itself for some cruel purpose. To show his power, the warlord raised his hand on the screen. The warship's underside opened. A new beam of destruction flashed. This time it struck a military base hidden in the desert. In less than 10 seconds, the entire complex turned into a black crater. Soldiers and machines vanished like dust in the wind. Billions watched in terror. The warlord's voice returned. You have 20 hours left. Your time runs out. Your answer will decide your fate. The broadcast ended, leaving the world shaken and cities chaos spread. Crowds filled the streets. Some begged their governments to surrender. Some demanded war. Riots broke out as fear turned into anger. No one knew how to fight an enemy so powerful. But in the middle of confusion, one young scientist named Dr. Ilara stood calm. She had been studying the strange codes hidden in the warlord's broadcasts. Unlike others, she believed the aliens' demand was not about destruction, but about something deeper, something personal. She told her team that the warlord's words carried patterns. Like riddles, her discovery was ignored by many leaders. They were too busy arguing. But her quiet group of researchers continued their work, searching for meaning in every tone, every phrase, every pause of the alien's message. Meanwhile, the alien warlord enjoyed the chaos. From his throne inside the warship, he watched the world panic. His warriors stood at his side, creatures bred for battle. His eyes glowed as he whispered, "They will beg to fulfill my desire. They will kneel before I end them." Back on Earth, the military prepared their defenses. Fighter jets circled the skies. Nuclear warheads were moved into position. Hidden satellites armed themselves. But deep down, every soldier knew the truth. No matter how strong Earth's weapons were, against the warship they would be like ants attacking a mountain. In a small bunker, Dr. Ilara's team finally unlocked a clue. The words "no witnesses" repeated in a rhythm almost like a chant. The warlord did not want silence, he wanted attention. He wanted humanity to face him, not hide from him. She realized his desire might not be treasure or power, but recognition. The news spread quietly through a handful of commanders. Some believed her. Others laughed at her theory. But time was running out. 19 hours remained. The warlord's ship still hovered like a blade over the planet's neck. As night fell again, the warlord broadcast once more. His voice was colder than before. "You waste my time. Your leaders are weak. Your armies are ants. Show me courage, fulfill my desire, or face extinction." The message ended with another blast. This time a mountain range was struck. Entire peaks crumbled into ash. Villages near the base vanished. The world screamed in horror. The countdown felt heavier with every passing second. People everywhere asked the same questions. What was this alien's true demand? What did he mean by desire? And why did he insist on leaving no witnesses? In the heart of fear, Dr. Ilara looked up at the ship from her bunker window. Her eyes narrowed. She whispered to herself, "It's not about what he wants to take. It's about what he wants us to give. He wants us to fight him. He wants us to rise." Her words hung in the air like a fragile flame in the darkness. Perhaps the warlord was not here for conquest. Perhaps he was here for something far more dangerous and a challenge. The clock continued to tick. The ultimatum had been given. Humanity had less than a day to find the answer, and the alien warlord waited above, his shadow covering the world. The world did not sleep. For every second the alien warship remained above the skies. Fear grew stronger. Governments worked without rest. Military leaders argued, scientists searched for meaning, and ordinary people clung to hope. Inside the largest underground command center, chaos filled the air. Screens flickered with live feeds of the massive ship. World leaders sat at a round table, their faces pale and tired. Some demanded that Earth should fight. Others whispered that surrender was the only way to survive. General Marcus, a man hardened by war, slammed his fist against the table. His voice thundered, "If we give in, we are already dead. This warlord will never stop. He will take what he wants and destroy us anyway." His words made many nod, but fear silenced others. A frail diplomat stood up, shaking as he spoke. "We cannot risk global war. Look at his power. Look at what he did to the island, to the base, to the mountains. If we fight, we will be ash before we even draw blood." The room exploded with arguments. Voices rose, papers flew. Some shouted for negotiation, some for immediate attack. Humanity's leaders were divided. But among the noise, Dr. Alara sat quietly with her notes. She had been invited as an observer, but her discovery of the strange codes in the Warlord's words made her important. She waited for silence, and when the voices slowed, she finally spoke. "The Warlord is not asking for gold, or land, or surrender," she said calmly. "His words are chosen. The phrase 'no witnesses' is not just a threat. It is a challenge. He wants humanity to face him, not hide from him." The room turned to her. Some scoffed, others listened. She explained the patterns in his voice, the rhythm, the repeated signals that carried hidden meaning. She showed charts and sound waves. The code suggested that the Warlord craved resistance, not submission. General Marcus leaned forward, his eyes sharp. "You mean?" "He wants us to fight him." Ilara nodded. "Yes, it is not about destruction alone. He desires proof that we are strong enough to be worthy enemies. If we kneel, he will erase us. If we stand, he might give us a chance." A wave of unease filled the room. Some leaders rejected her idea at once. "This is madness," a minister shouted. "You want us to fight a god? That ship is death itself. We cannot win." But others felt a strange fire ignite. For the first time since the Warlord's arrival, there was something more than fear. There was purpose. The debate grew louder. Around the world, similar arguments erupted. In homes, people asked one another, should humanity surrender, or should it resist? Was survival worth living as slaves, or was freedom worth dying for? Meanwhile, the alien Warlord watched from his throne. His glowing eyes studied Earth's confusion. He smiled cruelly, whispering to himself, "They argue, they fear, but will they rise? Will they face me? Or vanish as cowards?" His warriors knelt before him, awaiting his command, but he did not strike again. He was waiting. On Earth, the hours passed. The countdown continued. Only 16 hours remained before his ultimatum ended. The pressure grew unbearable. In one secret meeting, General Marcus and Dr. Alara spoke privately. Marcus clenched his fists. "If what you say is true, then we must prepare for battle even if we lose. We must show him that humanity will not bow." Ilara hesitated. Her heart raced. She knew Marcus was right, but she also feared the cost. Billions of lives could be lost in such a fight. Yet deep down she felt the truth. The alien Warlord would never accept surrender. His desire was to see humanity stand or to see humanity burn. As dawn broke, the debate reached every corner of the globe. Protesters filled the streets demanding peace. Soldiers prepared their weapons demanding war. Families prayed for safety, but the question remained unanswered. What would humanity choose? The Warlord's voice struck again at sunrise. Louder and sharper than before, "Your time drains away. Your leaders bicker, your people cry, you waste the gift I have given you. Decide, will you face me or will you die without honor? No witnesses will remain." His message shook the earth. It felt less like a demand and more like a cruel invitation. The alien Warlord wanted humanity to answer with courage or perish in silence. Dr. Alara looked at the burning skies and whispered to herself, "He will not stop. We must decide soon. The debate cannot last forever. Humanity must choose." The world held its breath. The debate was not only among leaders. It was in every street, every home, every heart. The alien Warlord waited for their answer, and the clock ticked closer to doom. The alien warship remained silent above Earth. Its massive shadow drifted slowly over oceans and continents, a reminder of the ultimatum that ticked away hour by hour. The alien Warlord's message had divided the planet. Some still cried for surrender, others demanded war. But one truth grew stronger with every passing minute. Humanity could not hide forever. In secret bases and underground bunkers, preparations began. Soldiers sharpened their blades of steel and iron. Engineers powered up machines that had not been tested. Hackers stared into glowing screens, searching for cracks in alien code. Ordinary men and women who had once lived simple lives now held rifles and stood guard. The air was heavy with fear, but also with determination. Dr. Alara worked tirelessly with her small team of scientists, her eyes red from sleepless nights. She whispered to her companions, "The Warlord is not a god. He is powerful, but power can break. There must be a weakness." Together they searched through recordings, scanning every pulse of the aliens' transmissions, every hum of the warship's engines. General Marcus, meanwhile, gathered volunteers. He knew Earth's armies could not win a direct battle, but he believed humanity's courage could create an opening. "We may not defeat him with strength," he told his soldiers, "but we will make him see what it means to face humanity." His words carried across their hearts like fire. In the streets, whispers of resistance spread. Small groups of fighters formed in cities, painting symbols of defiance on walls. Radios carried hidden messages calling for courage. For the first time since the ship's arrival, humanity's fear was met with sparks of bravery. The alien warlord watched from his throne of black steel. His warriors kneeled, waiting for his order to strike. Yet he remained still. His burning eyes narrowed as he studied the planet. "They stir," he murmured. "They prepare. But will they rise to meet me, or will they fall before I lift my blade?" On Earth, resistance cells began testing the aliens' patience. A team of hackers managed to disrupt a minor drone that circled the skies. For a few seconds, the great warship flickered. Its shadow shifted and then returned to normal. It was a tiny victory, but it sent hope racing across the resistance. If the alien could be touched, perhaps he could be broken, Doctor. Ilara's team made progress as well. They discovered that the phrase "no witnesses" carried a strange resonance. It was not only a threat, but a command coded into the alien's own systems. She realized that the warlord had built his technology around his own obsession. That obsession could be the key to undoing him. But the hours were slipping away. Only 12 hours remained. The world still had no clear answer. Leaders continued to argue. Debates filled the airwaves. But the resistance did not wait, they acted. They prepared for a confrontation even if no one else would. General Marcus ordered his troops into position, hidden across mountain ranges and deserts. "If he comes," Marcus said, "we will be ready, even if we fall. We will show him who we are." His voice thundered like the drums of war. In a small village, a group of farmers armed themselves with whatever tools they could find. In a crumbling city, children painted the words "We fight" on broken walls. Across nations, the call for resistance grew louder. It was no longer just about survival. It was about honor, about proving that humanity would not kneel. The alien warlord spoke again, his voice colder than the void itself. "You scratch at my ship like insects, you delay your doom. But I see you stir, I see you gather, fulfill my desire. Face me with fire, or I will erase you without a trace." His words sent fear racing, but also a strange kind of strength. Humanity understood now. He wanted them to resist, he wanted a fight. And if that was his desire, then humanity would give him more than he expected, Doctor. Ilara pressed her hand against the glass of her bunker. Staring at the warship above, her voice steady, she said, "He will regret underestimating us." Her team nodded, ready to uncover the final piece of his weakness. The night sky lit up as humanity prepared. Fighter jets took to the air, satellites locked on. Underground weapons charged across the globe. People who had never held a weapon clenched their fists. Humanity was awakening, the resistance had begun. The warlord had demanded courage, and now he would see it. The clock ticked down toward the final hours, and Earth stood ready, scarred by fear but rising in defiance. The night was restless across Earth. The alien warship remained above, silent and terrible, its shadow covering the planet like a grave. Humanity had awakened, resistance had formed, but questions still burned in every heart. What was the alien warlord's true desire? What was hidden behind his words, "No witnesses, Doctor"? Ilara and her team worked without pause. The bunker was filled with the sound of machines, wires buzzing, screens glowing. She stared at endless lines of alien code. Every broadcast from the warlord carried signals deeper than the human ear could hear. It was in these hidden frequencies that she searched for answers. Her team discovered a strange pulse buried in the alien's message. It was not just language, it was memory. The recordings held echoes like the heartbeat of a lost world. As they studied the patterns, an image began to appear. Fragments of the warlord's past. The alien warlord, once a ruler of many worlds, had lost his empire to rebellion. His armies had been destroyed. His people scattered and his throne burned. He had been left as the last of his kind, a conqueror with no crown. He swore no witnesses of his failure would remain. His obsession grew, until all he had left was the hunger to prove himself against others. Dr. Ilara leaned back in shock, her voice quiet but firm. His desire is not gold, not land, not slaves. His desire is recognition. He wants to fight humanity. He wants us to prove we are worthy enemies. Her team stared, fear and wonder filled their faces. For the first time they understood the true danger. If humanity bowed, it would mean extinction. If humanity stood, it would mean war. General Marcus listened carefully to her report. His jaw tightened. So he does not want to conquer. He wants to test us, his fist clenched. Then we will give him a test he will never forget. Meanwhile, chaos still spread across nations. In one city, people shouted for surrender, demanding safety. In another, crowds painted walls with fire, declaring resistance. Families huddled in fear. Soldiers polished their weapons with grim resolve. The world was divided, but time was almost gone. Only 10 hours remained. The Warlord appeared again on every screen. His eyes glowed brighter than fire. His voice cut across the world like a blade. You search for meaning in my words. You wonder what I desire. Here is your truth. I do not want your land, your gold, or your chains of surrender. I want your spirit, I want your fire, I want you to fight me, and when you fall, there will be no witnesses left of your race. His warriors roared behind him. The sound shook even through the screens. It was the voice of an army bred only for war. Billions trembled, yet among the fear, sparks of defiance grew. Humanity finally understood. This was not conquest, this was a challenge. The Warlord wanted to prove his dominance by crushing humanity in battle. Dr. Alara whispered, "He wants us to fight him on his terms. But we will not give him what he expects. We will not be his game. We will break his pride." She and her team discovered something even more shocking. The resonance of the phrase "no witnesses" was not only obsession, it was a weakness. The Warlord had bound his technology to his voice, to his very will. If his voice was disrupted, if his command failed, his own ship could turn against him. It was a secret hidden deep in his arrogance. He had tied his empire to his own pride, and that pride could be broken. General Marcus stood tall. "Then we have our chance. His desire is battle. Let us give it to him, but on our ground, not his." His soldiers roared with agreement. For the first time, humanity had a weapon, the knowledge of the Warlord's flaw. As dawn approached, resistance groups across the globe prepared. Satellites armed themselves with hacked frequencies. Fighter jets lined up on runways. Missiles pointed to the sky, hidden in the shadows. Dr. Alara's team built a device, one that could disrupt the alien's voice. A weapon made not of bullets but of sound. The Warlord did not know. He waited with cruel patience, his glowing eyes fixed on the planet, whispering to himself, "They will fight and they will break, and I will watch their ashes scatter." But in the heart of humanity, courage burned brighter. The revelation had come, his desire was known. His weakness was found, and humanity was ready to answer. The clock ticked down. 9 hours remained. Earth prepared for war, and the secret of the Warlord's downfall rested in human hands. The final hours of the countdown began. The alien warship still floated above the Earth, a giant shadow against the morning sky. The ultimatum was almost over. Humanity had no more time to debate. The moment of confrontation had come. General Marcus stood before his troops. His armor scratched, his face hard, his voice thundered. "Today we fight, not because we expect to live, but because humanity refuses to kneel. Let the Warlord see that even in fire, mankind rises." His words spread across radios and speakers. Soldiers cheered. Civilians listened with tears in their eyes. For the first time, humanity felt united. Dr. Alara and her team worked inside a secret bunker. Her device, the disruptor, was ready. A machine built to shatter the alien Warlord's voice, to break the chain between his pride and his ship. She whispered, "This is our only chance. If we fail, the world ends." Her hands shook, but her eyes burned with determination. The Warlord's warriors prepared as well. Inside the alien ship, weapons charged, lightning danced across their cannons. The Warlord stood tall on his throne, his voice echoing across his army. The humans stir. They prepare to resist. Good. Their fire will make my victory sweeter. Today they will face me, and there will be no witnesses left. His army roared in response. Then the sky broke. Earth launched its first strike. Dozens of fighter jets soared into the clouds. Missiles streaked upward, exploding against the warship's shields. The world shook with thunder, but the alien ship barely flinched. Its black armor absorbed the blasts like rain on stone. The Warlord laughed. His ship answered with its own fire. Beams of energy tore through the skies. Jets vanished in bursts of flame. Missiles fell uselessly. Cities trembled as shockwaves tore across the land. It seemed hopeless. Humanity's weapons were ants against a mountain. But this was only the first strike. General Marcus gave the next order. Hidden cannons across deserts and mountains fired at once, not to destroy but to distract. The alien ship turned its weapons toward them. Just as Dr. Alara activated her device, The disruptor sent a pulse through satellites and radio towers. A scream of invisible sound raced into the heavens. It struck the warship not with force but with resonance. The alien warlord's voice trembled. For the first time, his command over the ship flickered. Lights inside the warship dimmed. The warlord snarled, his glowing eyes widened. "What is this?" he roared, his voice cracked. The connection between his pride and his power had been touched. His ship faltered. General Marcus seized the moment. "All forces, fire everything," he commanded. Earth's armies unleashed their strength. Missiles, lasers, and railguns filled the sky. Explosions ripped against the ship's shields. Cracks began to spread across its surface. The warlord roared. His fury shook the heavens. He forced his voice louder, trying to rebuild control. "No witnesses, no survivors. I am eternal." But the disruptor pulsed again, stronger this time. "Doctor," Ilara screamed over the machines. "Hold it." Don't let his voice stabilize. The warship convulsed, its weapons flickered. Its shields cracked like glass for the first time. Humanity's attacks began to wound it. Flames burst across its black surface. Pieces of alien steel broke apart and fell into the oceans below. The alien warlord stood from his throne, his body glowing with rage. He left his command chamber. His warriors followed, ready to strike directly at Earth. But the ship itself betrayed him, flickering. Breaking under his failing voice, General Marcus saw his chance. He rallied his soldiers for a final strike. "For Earth," he cried. And the battle cry echoed across every battlefield. Humanity poured every last weapon, every ounce of fire into the wounded warship. The warlord screamed. His arrogance had become his weakness. The very words he had chained his power to were now the chains that dragged him down. He tried one final time, his voice roaring. "No witnesses." But the disruptor shattered the command. His words broke into static, his ship shuddered. Its core collapsed in on itself. A roar of light exploded across the sky, shaking oceans, burning clouds. For a moment it seemed the world would end with it. Then silence. The warship split apart, burning pieces falling like dying stars into the seas. The once eternal throne of the warlord was gone. Humanity had faced him, and humanity had not broken Doctor. Ilara collapsed beside her machine, tears running down her face. "We did it," she whispered. General Marcus stood, covered in dust and blood, his eyes fixed on the burning sky. He muttered. He asked for witnesses. But the only witnesses left are us. The battle was over, the confrontation had ended. But Earth stood scarred, cities broken, millions gone. Yet in the ashes, humanity stood victorious. The alien warship was gone, its burning remains scattered across the oceans, glowing like fallen stars for hours. Fire rained from the skies, but humanity endured. The terrible shadow that had covered Earth finally lifted. The sun rose again, bright and golden, shining on a wounded but living world all across the globe. People stepped out from their shelters, cities broken, streets filled with smoke. But hearts still beating, humanity had survived. For the first time since the alien warlord's arrival, the air was filled not with fear, but with relief. General Marcus stood among his soldiers. His armor scarred, his body bruised, but his eyes steady. He looked at the sky where the warship had fallen. "We are still here," he said, his voice carrying across the battlefield. "And we will remain, no matter who comes next." His words spread quickly, replayed across radios, and soon became a song of victory, Doctor. Ilara stood beside the disruptor, the machine sparking and broken from the final blast. Her hands trembled, but her face held a quiet smile. She whispered, "We faced him. We broke his pride. Humanity will never be forgotten." Her team cheered weakly, knowing that her discovery had been the key. In the ruins of great cities, survivors lit fires not of destruction, but of hope families embraced. Children cried in joy. Strangers hugged as brothers. The world was scarred, but it was alive. Humanity had not only survived, it had proven itself, yet the cost was heavy. Millions had been lost, entire lands burned. The ocean swallowed pieces of the alien ship, leaving behind toxic scars. Still, people refused to bow their heads. Instead, they built memorials from the wreckage, stones carved with the words, "We fought. We endured, we triumphed." Meanwhile, in secret bunkers, leaders met once more. This time there was no shouting, no division. They knew the truth. Humanity had been tested and had risen. They looked at one another and swore an oath. "Never again will we be unprepared. Plans began for a united defense of Earth, new alliances stronger than before. But not all was celebration. High above in the silent void, fragments of the alien ship still floated. Some of its warriors had escaped in smaller crafts. Their signals vanished into the stars. No one knew where they fled, but Dr. Alara feared what it meant. She whispered, "This was not the end, this was only the first," General Marcus agreed, his voice heavy with wisdom. "The Warlord may have fallen, but his kind may still watch us. The stars hold more dangers than we can see. We must be ready. Humanity's fire must never fade." Across the planet, people began to rebuild. Farmers returned to their fields. Engineers repaired broken towers. Children laughed again in streets that once shook with fear. Life pushed forward as it always did. Humanity was scarred, but stronger, for every person knew now that when faced with extinction, mankind had chosen to fight. Legends began to form. Stories of soldiers who stood against impossible odds, of civilians who rose to defend their homes, of scientists who uncovered the Warlord's secret. In these stories, humanity found pride. The tale of resistance would be told for generations, not as a memory of fear, but as proof of strength. At night, people still looked up at the stars, some with awe, others with suspicion. The sky no longer felt empty. It was alive with mystery, with danger, and with promise. The universe had tested humanity, and humanity had answered. Dr. Alara stood one evening on a cliff overlooking the ocean. The waves carried glowing fragments of the alien ship. She closed her eyes and listened to the sound of the sea.
"He thought there would be no witnesses," she said softly. "But we are here."
And we will remember. Behind her, children played. Their laughter carried on the wind. The future had returned. Humanity's story was not over. In fact, it had only begun. The alien warlord's last words still echoed in her mind. But now they no longer brought fear. They brought determination. Humanity had stood. Humanity had triumphed. And somewhere in the vast darkness of space, others might be watching, wondering if they too should test the small blue planet. If they came, they would learn the same truth. Humanity bows to no one. Humanity fights. Humanity endures. Humanity triumphs. The stars burned brighter above, and Earth, though wounded, stood strong beneath them. A world of survivors, a world of warriors, a world that would never again be silent.